All right, it looks like we're live. Welcome, everybody. Glad you guys are tuning in tonight for Old Gray Bricks. My name is Zoom, or you can call me Chris or Old Gray Bricks. I don't care. But we're glad you're here and joining us. We've got a few folks already in the chat. Winter Bricker, it's good to see you. Micah, it's good to see you as well in the chat. We got a great panel for you tonight. We've got at least one, and if a friend of ours can get the string reattached to the toucans up in Canada at the Moose Lodge, he will be joining us as well, and I hope he can. But so welcome to the group. We have Meredith, we have Brian, we have Matthew, we have Evil Skull Guy Mark, and Dana, and our friend Freak. And we'll introduce Freak here in just a minute. All right. Oh, and my son, who is literally right there, probably eating up all my internets. So, oh, you got the official Freak symbol. I love it.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah. I brought all my brick badges up from downstairs to show you guys because I watched the stream from Monday, and I saw you guys showing off, so I had to. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
that's how many times I've been to. So
nice. There you go. Yeah.
More of mine.
So that's Adrian. That's going to be just joining us. Everything. Welcome, Seth. Good to see you here in the chat room there. So let's just go around the room. Tell what you got going on. Here's some of the things we're going to talk about as we get into our talk tonight. We're going to talk about a conversation we kind of started last week about whether Lego is kind of headed back into some of the same, or making some of the same mistakes they made back in the 90s and 2000s that about ruined them, or if they are they handling those better, all that kind of stuff. We'll have a lively discussion. And also some sort of video game system mock or creation of Legos came out. We'll talk about that as well. But let's go around the room and introduce ourselves and see what's going on. Starting out with Meredith. How are you?
Calling on me first teacher?
Yes, you're first in line. Sit on the
well, somehow Amazon messed up, and I pre-ordered a certain set, and it came very early.
Ooh. Oh, put it up too close to the camera so we can touch it. There we go. Oh, there.
We already have the Abby Daddy Baby Yoda, but you gotta get them all. You gotta get the Pram. You gotta get Mando Daddy. You gotta get everybody.
Awesome.
And we also have the half of the boat coming back together very slowly, and you've all passed me to make this a pop-off side, so it will pop off.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nothing like Lego peer pressure.
Yeah.
The best kind of peer pressure.
It is.
That's all we got going on this week.
Sweet. That thing is getting awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So, all right. Next to the man with the best background in all of the Lego internet universe, Brian. Welcome, Brian. How are you today?
Thank you. Doing well. Doing well. So I had a small victory this week. I had an order that I've been waiting on for over 2 months now. That's the longest any order has ever taken. I'd completely given up on it because it was coming from Europe. But it finally got here this past week, and I was finally able to finish Weetabix Castle, the luckiest castle ever made.
So you're blowing my mind saying that's the first capsule ever made, because none of us knew that. So that's amazing.
Yeah, 1970, so
what
8 years before.
Windows, that is pretty retro looking.
Yeah, the windows were the hardest parts to find on Bricklink. They're not expensive, but they just have to come from like Europe most of the time because they're the 70s style. So,
yep.
So that's pretty much it.
Awesome score.
Yes, I think in one of the 72-hour streams that I heard some of the guys from England were talking about Weetabix or whatever, and that they eat it for breakfast, and they were also just talking that it was pretty much disgusting. So
it is. Yeah, I forgot. I lived in England for a couple of years, and I would eat Weetabix every now and then. It's the worst. It's literally just like these oval like shapes of wheat, and you just crush it up. It's terrible. It's terrible.
But yeah, you ate it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you needed something to eat.
Tree bark, haystacks. All right.
Exactly.
All right, but it helps things move later on. All right, let's go on. Speaking of moving on, let's go to Matthew. What's going on?
Hey, so I'm working on a long-term project, which is this big 13,000-piece cathedral, but that's downstairs covering up a large table. So the other project I've got going on up here in the room is somebody had an idea set for a lifeguard Lifeguard Station, and it was digitally built, and some of the pieces in the picture don't actually exist, but I thought I would take a stab at trying to recreate it. I thought it was an interesting design, and so I don't know, probably halfway done, and I've changed the flooring. I've used some of the wood tiles for the decking, but I love the color, light aqua blue. You don't see very many buildings in this color, so a lifeguard stand is something where presumably it might be in light aqua blue. So I've been having fun with this.
Sweet. All right. Good deal. All right. Still no flames coming out of the Millennium Falcon in downtown San Francisco. I'm still upset. All right. Hey, what about the cathedral? Talk to us about the cathedral. How is that coming?
So, anytime you do a large project, even when you try to count out all the pieces, there's always some like, oops, I didn't get enough of this. The big oops so far in this set has been there's a step where you use the white flexible tube, the small tubing, and I trimmed them all about 2 millimeters too short. So I had to order 12 more pieces of tubing. And the other thing is the wheel wells that are used in the tops of windows to give it that curved arch. I didn't realize that there were two versions, one with the longer half dome, and I needed the shorter one, and I only had 6, and so I need 24 more of the short version. So there's been 2 Bricklink orders placed this week, but I knew with a project as big as this one that there would be some miscalculation, shall we say. So I've been cleaning up little messes here and there, but it's steady as she goes, and so far I haven't managed to accidentally knock the whole thing on the floor or anything really traumatic like that.
That's good. Good deal. Do you got any views of it we can see what you got so far, or show us where it fell short? We want to see.
You want me to go downstairs?
Oh, never mind. It's downstairs. Never mind.
Yeah,
okay.
It's downstairs.
You have layers upon layers of Lego room. I forget. That's cool.
Yeah, I've got the dining room table's covered, and the fold-out table's covered, and the guest bed is covered with unfinished mops. So, and then there's the Lego room.
There's a lot more patience in your house than mine. That's a good thing. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad you're here, man. All right, Mr. Sandlin, what is going on in your Lego world today?
Sorting.
That's a bad word around here, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, it happens. And I've been disassembling old evil space.
Well, it's about time.
So, yeah, this is the remains of the Azazel battleship that I built long ago. And I've spent the last 3.5 hours working on it ever since I quit work this evening. So this is the remains of the skeleton, the Technic skeleton. Yeah, all week long I've been sorting old stuff to make room and make parts for new stuff.
Cool.
And I found more of my brick badges, since we were talking about brick badges. So I found the ones from about 2005 down were in one of my old dusty bins over there. So I found that. So that's fun.
Oh, looks like did I kick you, Dana, or did you kick yourself?
I had a momentary motor function and closed the tab by accident.
All right. Cool deal, Mark. Let's see. We got another friend coming in. Gil, can you hear us, man?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yay. All right. Also, we have another. We'll get to you and Adrian here at the end so you can introduce yourselves here. These are 2 old friends, old school Lego friends from back in the day. And Gil is coming all the way from Canada, so we're hoping that string between the cans stays together so he can stay connected with us and everything. So, all right. Whoops. We'll do that. I hit the button. So many buttons. All right. So let's go. Dana, go ahead and let's see what's up in your world, man.
All right. So, like Matthew, I have been taking on a big project, which was this UCS Ghost that I got on Rebrickable. The instructions from somebody, Chestnut something or other. I forget what his name is. and he had actually come out and he redid the instructions. So he had a version 2. And like Matthew, I thought I was having a problem where that I grabbed the wrong number of bricks or had miscounts for parts. Well, about 3/4 of the way through, I started realizing that he hadn't updated the list on Rebrickable, even though he had updated the instructions. So a lot of the parts weren't quite what I needed, and I had a little bit of extra of some and not enough of others. So like Matthew, I have probably a bricklink or 2 order that I'm probably gonna have to do to be able to finish it. It's pretty much 95% done, minus probably a few pieces here and there that I need to go back and go ahead and order. If you ever think about going on to Rebrickable and looking for this, it's a solid set. I mean, you can pick it up, and unlike the Falcon or something like that, it's solid. I mean, you can turn this thing upside down and nothing's falling off. So I recommend the build. I mean, it's a solid build. The instructions are a little wonky because sometimes there'll be a piece where you've actually got to take something off to put something else in to put it back together again. So the instructions are a little wonky, but the build is still solid. So I recommend it. It's a decent build. Make sure that you check on the instructions so that you got the right parts. Maybe even rebuild or build it digitally first so you can get a feel for it before you actually start putting the thing together. And where I'm missing some parts from this, it seems to be my curse or my lot and light lately, because this week I got the pieces in the mail for some other stuff. So I thought I was going to put this bad boy together.
Space Police 2.
Space Police 2. And as you can tell, there's some wheels missing. I needed 12 wheels. I thought I had 6. I ordered 6. And all I had was the 6 I ordered. So I need to order 6 more wheels or hopefully find them at a friend's place. And then this bad boy as well. More Space Police 2.
Galactic
and
Enforcement.
I'm missing 2 windows on the backside here.
Is it the trans green windows?
Trans green windows, one of the octagonal half pieces.
Yeah.
And then one of the 1x4x4 or 1x3x4, whatever it is. So again, I'm going to have some bricklink orders, or hopefully my good friend Mare up there, her and Brian might have some in their stock, so I can hopefully finish those 2 up.
Well, straight up and honest, I pulled some of those parts out of ABC last time we were down there, so I have them.
If I was to, that would be my other option, but if I want to make the trip to ABC, I might as well just do a bricklink order. But I'm getting to the point where there's so many little tiny pieces for so many of the sets I'm trying. I'm like 1 or 2 pieces to be able to finish, and trying to do a bricklink order, it's impossible because like somebody will have 2 things I'm missing out of the 30, and it seems to be that all the way through. It's like So it may just be a wind up where I sit there and I say, all right, I'll pause on those for a year until I accumulate enough projects where I can slowly filter them in. But first world A-fold problems.
That's right. But what I'm saying is I saw those at ABC. I picked those at ABC. They are in a bin right here. So
what you're saying is that when I get that bricks and pieces order in, if I haven't found them,
we will swap. That's right.
So a small shout out to Bricks and Pieces. We might want to do I think we should do a Bricks and Pieces commentary one night. So just food for thought.
My commentary would be stop stealing my money, but I'm gladly giving it to you. So
exactly. So that's what I've got going on this week. Hopefully all the ghosts and a couple of these things finished for next week, but that goes on. So I think we can go ahead and switch me to my other screen there, Chris.
All right. If I can, there we go. Is that you? Is that it?
That's me.
All right.
Old Gray Bricks set of the week.
And there was rejoicing. Oh, yes.
The mobile lab. And yes, Chris, I will confess that the reason that this is the Old Gray Bricks set of the week is because I was listening to the Forever Sorting with Old Gray Brick, and I heard that this was your first classic space set.
It was my first classic space set. You better believe it.
First classic space set. So the mobile lab. Of course, Classic Space came out in 1980. A whopping 135 pieces. Minifigures, 1 red and 1 white. Spaceman. whopping retail price of $8 back in 1980.
$8.
Smackaroos. Something. Gil, you'll have to do the translation to Canadian. I'm sorry, these are in USD.
300 moose heads.
How many loonies?
Today's used price on Bricklink will run you about $69, give or take, depending on the quality of the pieces, the quality of the instructions, if it does have the instructions or not. But again, I think it's retained its value at that point in time. All righty, so why is it cool? Other than the fact that it was Chris's first base set.
Woo!
It's got that trans green windshield. We all rave about the trans yellow windscreen, but gosh darn it, this one's got the green one. You got to love it. It came with 2 spacemen, which was very uncommon for that point in time. I mean, you normally a set at that size, it only came with 1 spaceman. So that was definitely a bang for your buck for getting 2 spacemen. Not only did you get printed slopes, 2 of them, 2 printed slopes, and 2 bricks with the space logo on it as well. So this was a printed brick palooza for a small set like that, which is great.
Right.
And you got the bendy arm, which I had to look up. The bendy arm in light blue gray or light bluish gray only came in 9 sets.
Whoa, what did you just call that gray? What did you just call that color?
Light gray.
You said light bluish gray, and I'm about to kick you out of here. Anyway, go ahead.
It's too much pressure, man. All this gray stuff, I can't handle it. Anyway, the light gray bendy arm only came in 9 sets. 7 of them were in the space sets, and the other 2 came in a space shuttle set in the 90s, and I think a police set of all weird things in the 90s as well. So it's strange that happened. And then again for Chris, the other thing that makes us cool is that 4x4 radar dish.
That's right.
Because that's what the dreams of a young Goober Giddens was all about, that 4x4 radar dish.
That's right. And
so again, this week's set of the week is the mobile lab. And I will go ahead and switch my camera over to my other screen. And we'll take a look at the actual physical set here real quick. There we go. There we got it. Showing off. And I tried to recreate the way the image on the instructions looked, with the guy working the wrench on there and the other guy carrying the scoop bucket. You got to love the little bendy arm here. Although I will say that these bendy arms, they are not, time has not done them well. Let's put it that way. When I was pulling this out of the bag to set it up for today, I wound up with a little snappage.
Man down.
Yeah, got a man down. So luckily I had 1 more spare of the light gray in my inventory, so I was able to quickly add it back in to return it back to its 5 pieces. And for me, I love the old space sets that always had doors that opened up. For me, that's a must on any old classic set, is to have doors that open up. I was surprised that this one didn't have the lid hinge on it or anything like that, but at least it's got doors, which is cool. It's funny, though, that you got these funky wheels and you got this elevation to make it think like, oh, you could be moving over some sort of like terrain. Yeah, not really.
You have one plate of clearance.
Yeah, you're still basically sacrificing to a flat surface to get that little bad boy to move. And then it's also kind of weird that they left this open hole here. So God forbid that the astronauts decide to take off the air tanks. They were exposed to the atmosphere pretty quickly. But still, awesome, little great set. A young Goober Giddens was a big happy day when he was able to take that set home.
I think the term you were looking for was active suspension.
Active
suspension.
Or suspension travel.
Yeah.
There it is, right
there.
there.
There he is. There he is.
This is not the original that I had, but all those reasons are why, it was the one selected, because of all the parts that was gray, because we didn't have gray parts to build spaceships with back in the day.
Yeah.
And so that was an amazing thing of gray, and a quick mod of a gray brick back here, and you could put one of those gray bricks up there and fix the air problem, which I did when I was a kid. So, yeah, there was a time where I could sit down and build that from memory. So it's a great set. I mean, yes, it's one of those classic space sets that it is chunky, square, and blocky, but it's all brick, and you could rebuild so many different things out of that. So it was one of the best of the best, even though it is pooed on by some for being the elephant rover, but I love it. All right, so
it could be worse.
Great. Thank you, Dana, for that. Do what?
I said it could be worse. It could be literally like the elephant mech that will show up one day.
For sure. Right. Chima mech? Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, let's go to our friend, his real name being Greg, but his name to most of us is Gil. All the way from the Great White North. Welcome to the show, Gil. How you doing, man?
Good. Hope everyone is too. Yeah, hopefully we don't get a snowstorm or something here to blow out the connection. So,
all right, in American, what temperature is it up there?
In American? Oh, I don't know, man. You guys still follow the King's Gauge. It's like, I don't know, 300 King's toes or whatever you guys call it. Yeah, but no, thanks. This is really cool. I've been sitting in the peanut gallery for the last few, so it's nice that you guys can actually see what my horribly old and grizzled face looks like. Unfortunately, I'm not in the nerd cave. I'm present to you from the wonderful environment of my office with my thrilling bills and everything else. But if I was down there, then actually you would have seen both those Police 2 sets like right beside, along with a whole bunch of other kind of stuff. Yeah, and then like the Blacktron beside it and all this kind of thing. I'm going through there. I'm looking around your rooms. I'm kind of like, yep. So yeah. So it's cool. But as far as like new projects and stuff, one actually is a Space Police 1 remake of the Mothership with that that minus that mechanism that spit out the little rover that took up like 95% of the ship.
Right.
So yeah, that guy's underway, but it's kind of been poking out for a while. I'm kind of like, when the building goes, I'm kind of like in and out of Lego. I'm sort of like a bit of a creative moron. I'll eat with something for a while, and then something else will sort of catch my fancy, and I'll go to that. But the thing is with Lego, like it's been since I was like 6. Like you always come back to it, right?
Right.
So, but the one thing that's kind of interesting, maybe of use to this group, and that is that lately I've been more into sort of toy photography, and it's been more other kind of lines. Yes, that's right. And at the end of this, I take off my shirt, and you see the tattoo of it across the back.
Please don't. Anyway.
But yeah, so I've kind of been working a little bit on that, but I'd like to actually transition that into some Lego stuff. I can't remember his name, but I don't know if you guys remember, or I'm sure you've seen him. He's been on, the normal outlets that we're all at, and he does these like amazing Lego space stuff. It's all his own stuff. He like prints his own torsos. Like he's actually a professional toy photographer, but his stuff is like magnificent. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not. If you haven't,
is that the guy who basically did like a full torso?
Yes.
Got just like a little tiny space Lego up here.
Yes, exactly.
I'm surprised he hasn't his own book or something just to chronicleize, because his pictures and his mocks are just amazing.
They are.
Yeah, he has his own colored printed torsos. And so yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And like people always ask me, like, can you please sell me like transfer decals or something for it? And he keeps saying, maybe one day. So hopefully he does, because I mean, yeah, it's really like the perfect evolution of Lego space. I mean, you take a look at those designs, you're like, that's where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've got the other sort of half-hearted tries by the company, but no, this is it.
Yeah,
so
it made Galaxy Squad look like classic space, basically.
Yeah,
made it look worthwhile. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
essentially.
And I can't remember if it was him. There was one guy who took that dual molded
Galaxy
Aegis
Squad.
helmet and the green Futuron guy and made these really cool, awesome figures. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I know you're talking about. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm probably going to give that a shot. Maybe with like the next, if I ever get this other sort of build done, then maybe use sort of like a little bit of cross pollination of the nerd habits and see what can happen. So just one thing I just want to say that with that space aardvark thing that you just sort of featured there, there was, I don't know if you guys ever, I'm sure going to school, you guys all knew that, and Lee, all knew that one kid who not only had everything, but had two, right?
Yeah.
Well, the rest of us are eating paste and, making by with our robots and stuff like that, This guy, because it's a PG show, this guy has got,
Thank you very much.
got two of these things, right? So he brings him to school and he's showing it off. It's great. This is the best thing ever, and he's just beaming like, and everyone's so mad because space Lego is still new in Canada. Just like good dental care and hygiene, it's hard to find. So it's like he's got these things, right? And like everyone's like, oh, that's so great, it's so great, it's so great. At recess, we all go out, and he's like, these things can take anything. We're like, well, what do you mean? So he goes to this asphalt hill that we have. He takes one of them in each hand. He puts them down, and he's gonna ride them down the hill.
Oh.
Of course, he puts them down and the thing, they smash into a million pieces, right? Like, and the guy, and suddenly he's crying because some of the broken pieces have embedded into his hands.
Oh.
Yeah. So whenever I think about that, I think back there, like, it's like, this is like my first, like, real true run-in with Lego justice. Justice.
Before you even knew what Schadenfreude was.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's it.
That's awesome. All right. Got a note. I saw that note, Meredith. Bye, Natalie. Everybody say good night. 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 All right. Good to have y'all here today. Oh, and welcome to the chat on the sidebar. Get your Hinkles out because Mr. Hinkle's here. Woo! All right. And Brian is impressed with your background. In fact, that's why he's showing up, just to see your background. It's the Mario 64 box.
I got impressed.
All right. So welcome, Mr. Hinkle. Also, Cosmic Lettuce. Welcome, Bricksomniac. We're glad you're here as well and everything. All right. And last but not least, we have, speaking of the guy who has 15 of everything, and the guy who probably builds the largest mocks and other things that I've ever experienced, our friend Adrian Lindsay. Welcome to the chat.
Hi, everybody. Yo, Adrian. Yeah, I've never heard that before. No, I don't know how much I want to talk about me or talk about what I've been doing lately, but so since I finished DS9 last year, I've been kind of in a creative, I need a break thing. And since I moved up out of the basement into my secondary studio here, I don't have as much of my stuff, and I haven't been kind of in a creative funk. Not a creative moron, but but recently, my eldest son, who is 16 now, that's how long I've been around. He and I have been started doing great ball contraption stuff. So let me grab my camera and move it real quick.
We love great ball contraption.
So we've got, there's my kids over there doing their thing. So we've got here, these are 9 separate modules that we've built. They're all actually, none of them are our own creations. They're all kits. So like the orange guy here, that came from that's an actual, like a set that we bought. And then there was instructions for just the pieces in that set made this module. And then the rest of these, a couple of these, he bought the instructions for. This crazy thing right here, this is actually broken right now. I'd be running it to show you guys, but it's broken. This crazy thing, he actually paid a couple bucks for the instructions because he loved it so much. And we got this wave machine, which actually works pretty good right now. So that's kind of what we've been doing over the last few weeks. messing around with great ball contraption stuff.
Sweet.
But,
I find it's sad and ironic at the same time that Meredith and Brian just dropped from the presentation because they are huge GBC. Brian, Mayor's other half, he's pretty much took over doing GBC at Brick Fair, Alabama and Brick Fair, Virginia last year. He would be all excited for you to be doing that. So,
yeah.
So we're getting started here.
It's so funny that GBC is. Hang on, there's some side talk going on between two guys who like way too much. The butt chop. Anyway, GBC is one of those things that when you go to a convention, it is usually 4 deep all the way around the table all the time and everything, and which is great. And I think it's great. I mean, you can put out a big spaceship or a castle layout, but you can take a kid over there and watch these things move around the GBC, and they'll be enthralled for hours and everything. And the shame of that is, and for me, I don't build Technic very well. There's only a handful of builders who really put out a lot of content for those things. And was it Bill who led it for long? He's passed away.
Yeah. And
I know Stuart has had a lot of health issues, but he's doing well. That leads that. So it's good that you guys are picking that up and keeping that alive, because it's a huge draw at Brick. I know at Brick Fair. I've never been to Brick World, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty popular there as well.
Yeah, actually, you say Brick World. This one right here, this module is actually the 2018 official Brick World kit. So every year they do a Brick World panel where you pay like $35 or something, and you get all the parts to make a module, a GBC module, and everyone goes together, and they all build the same module together. So you can get your own one. So we found the instructions for this guy and parted it out and built that up. So it's big in Brick World too.
That's awesome. So, and if you're a viewer here and you don't know what GBC is, I'm sure most of them do, but that's the Great Ball Contraption, and does not honor testicular cancer, which I had. It should, because it's called. Anyway, so but that was not PG-13, was it? Anyway, so anybody from my church who just watched that, it's just reality. Anyway, so but it's been going on for a long time. It's a great thing. Great Ball Contraption. It's just a way for everybody to have a way to build something. Was it 1 ball per second has to move through from one end to the other, something like that. Certain height, all that kind of stuff. The standard is. And then they lay it out and monitor it. And it is amazing to see it go. There's videos on the internet to look up Great Ball Contraptions. Please make sure you monitor those searches on Google. When you put that in, that would be good. Anyway, so
one of the toughest things about the Great Ball Contraption is the balls themselves, because soccer balls are so hard to come by.
Yeah.
So I actually have, if I can show these here, these are craft beads that I bought.
I saw that bucket of white pearls.
They're pearl craft beads. They're 14 millimeters in diameter, which is the same size as a soccer ball. I got a bag of, like, you can see my container. I got a bag of like 300 of them for $12.
Oh, nice!
Off of Amazon. So in Europe, there's a marble game that has soccer balls. The marble balls that are the same size as the soccer balls, but they don't sell that product in the U.S. But I found out how big they were and bought these. Are around the same weight, and so they behave about the same way as well. So
that's cool.
Good score.
Well, in that bulk thing that shall not be named, the balls made it under our list this year, so there'll be a lot of them.
Yeah,
I think the GBC ball was on the anyway, that was what I'm talking about.
Second year in a row, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, if I recall, and Mark probably could be able to answer this, I recall, and Adrian, you too, there was a Brick Fest, was it about 04, 05, with the big jar of soccer balls that
was before that.
Mary P's son got, or something like that. Wasn't that right?
That might have been 2002.
Was it that early?
That was way back. It was still a GMU.
Yeah, right. And it was just. At the time there was no GBC. It was just a cheese ball size cheese ball thing full of soccer balls that nobody wanted. except for this guy who's Larry P, and his son was there, and his son was probably what, 10 at the time,
something like that. Yeah.
And dude won it and wanted it and was proud of, held that thing up and all that kind of stuff. Now that's worth gold before all the GBC guys and everything. But that was hilarious, because Larry was a big train guy, and his son started building space, and we gave him a hard time about that. So,
no, if only somebody wanted a bunch of googly eyes now.
That is inside joke for our club, because we usually give bags of random parts for winning, and that is a prize. But one lady named Francine in our club ended up with about a gallon-sized bag of 1x1 round with eye prints on them. And
now, to be fair, Chris, you need to explain where this actually started and how it became policed so that somebody wound up with a bag of eyes.
I don't know.
What did you wind up with?
I ended up with about 18 gazillion clips and 18 gazillion 1x2 black with bar on the side. Thank you very much. So I'll be swimming in those forever.
And you can thank your Lego ambassador at Christmas.
Okay.
Next time you have a bunch of eyes, just make a Medusa.
Oh, look at there.
Ooh, I like it.
Those are great snakes. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Just to say though, the bag that she had, that would have been what was just fell out when she zipped it up, because she had so many. Yeah,
that Brickhead's Medusa is the last mock that I actually built, and that was just like a quick table scrap idea with some guys on a Discord server.
Having just rewatched the Clash of the Titans, now I feel like I need to build that.
Yeah, it's super easy. It's just you take one of those, the 1x2x2 with the studs on, and just stick the eyes right in there. And
and it just gives them the right mouth. It's perfect.
Yeah, and there's one that's winking because I thought it was funny. And the actual Medusa itself, I think I borrowed most of that design from somebody online, because I don't really do stuff like that, so I needed a little bit of direction.
There's no shame in borrowing from something you found online.
Normally you would do something like that, but it would be 37 feet long.
Life size.
This is true. I'm actually amazed at Adrian's restraint, because that may be the small model for the actual 9-foot version he'll be building tomorrow. When he gets out of his creative funk, he will build a Medusa. And if you don't know, Adrian has built things like a minifig sized, 2-scale minifig sized version of Serenity from Firefly, and a lot of amazing things. A life-size Bender from all that kind of stuff. So there's a ton of stuff. If you dare Adrian to build it, he usually will. And
yeah.
And
that's how Bender ended up being.
But the best part is it's not just the end result build; it's the documentation of the 13 months beforehand. Most of it complete griping about what misery he's enduring.
Oh yeah,
I hate building this. This is a bunch of junk. Yeah, but you're doing better than me, pal. So keep on going. So
misery is the creative juice, is what it basically comes down to.
When it takes you 2 years to build a project, there's always that part in the middle of it where you're just like, why am I doing this?
That's actually how I set my calendar. Some people do the lunar. I kind of just look for when you lose your stuff.
It must be March. Adrian's lost his crap.
You call it the Brick Frenzy Solstice?
Brick Solstice.
Yeah.
That's right. But you know what? For some of us, for Adrian, for Gil, and Mark and myself, we've been at this for, I guess, LugNet 99, all that kind of stuff. You actually, there it is. You have your. We were wondering if there's actually a badge for that. So you do.
I'm the only person with one of these. Actually, in 2002 was the first year they made these badges, and in 2002 I actually went to Christina Hitchcock and said, "Hey, I was at the show last year. I'd like an engraved badge." And she said, "Well, I give you permission." And then I went to Tommy, and he made one for me. So that is on my stack here. It is the bottom of the stack of all the shows that I've been to.
Wow.
Plus the 2 that I made myself right here, Bricks at Sea 2018 Bricks at Sea 2019. Those are my show.
Sweet.
Nice.
All right. I think Kevin Hinkle. Oh, I think Kevin Hinkle was on one of those with you, right? And Mark went on one of those too, right?
Yeah, he was at the first one as well. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm pretty sure the COVID era has put a kibosh on that for a little while. So
yeah, 2020 was supposed to happen in April, and it didn't. Obviously. So we're hoping that 21 is going to happen in July of next year. We're doing an Alaska cruise. So
what really sucks too is that this year was supposed to be the inaugural, I believe, of Bricks in the Six, which is something that's organized. He won't admit to it, but basically it's organized by Simon Liu. You know, he's, I don't know if you guys
last year.
Was it last year though? Was that the official launch? I can't remember.
I remember hearing Kevin Hinkle going to Bricks in the Six and talking about it at some point in time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Last year, bro.
Okay. So good. So yeah, but I know that this year he had a whole bunch of stuff planned for it, and it's just a shame that it didn't. It's not going to go down. So.
Tell you what, you start speaking Canadian, they start showing up out of the woodwork. There's Jeff Van Winden there.
like maggots out of meat, Chris.
Whereas Chris says Jeff VW.
Yes,
that's right.
Focus. So I got my BrickFet one here as well.
Right.
Soccer blue.
That's Jeannie's gig, right?
Janie. Yeah.
You know, and those are, you know, that's the weird thing. And I mean, it's a good thing because I guess the fans, the hobby is spread out and replicated itself in different areas. But, you know, when we used to be just us and going to DC pretty much we knew everybody. We kind of kept track of everybody, you know who Janie. I remember Janie's first time being at Brick Fair, and I met her at the door. She asked where to go, and I helped her to get to where she was going, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it was nice being that smaller group, but therein though the fandom has grown and we're spread out. And in fact, I hadn't really talked to Brick Frenzy to Adrian except through IRC, which hasn't happened a lot lately. IRC is very an old technology, right? But even now through Discord, we're kind of reconnecting back up. With Brom and some other guys like that and everything, and
that's how I ended up coming back to joining this thing. I saw you were doing YouTube, and I saw the channel. I was like, hey, that looks like fun. I should go make a fool of myself on the internet. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, it's really easy. It's easy to do in here. Can confirm by President Bricks in the Sixth. Okay, all right.
Yep.
So
I knew he talked about it with Julian at some point in time, so I knew it did happen.
Yeah, and I would love to. I got to spend a good quality amount of time with Simon at Brick Fair, Alabama in 2013. Got to know him really well, and he's a good guy. And he's, you know,
I tell you, that guy is like, he's not a human being. Like he's he's not. Like he doesn't sleep.
He doesn't sleep.
He doesn't sleep. Like between all the stuff he does for the community and his own stuff. I understand his work is pretty demanding as well, but like you basically say to him, it's like, hey man, it's 3 a.m. Could you maybe run over like one plate and help a brother out? Sure. Like he's in his car, right? Like and like he does all the stuff for the Bricks charity, and he's a really impressive dude. He really
I remember saying, hey man, I want one of your frog chips, and he handed me a bag of frog chips. I mean, I've got like 8 of them and everything. So Simon Liu, if you're listening, you're a cool guy. I've already asked him to be on before. He's like his internet's pretty bad, so he does a video chat very well. But anyway, so we've got just a few minutes left, so let's talk. So like I was saying, back in the day, me and Adrian, Mark, and Gil, we're the old school kind of guys, and you guys are fairly newer to the hobby. But in our day, we remember the ship sinking really hard. Even though we were at Brick Fair, the adult fandom was doing well. Lego itself was sinking fast. Making parts, not paying attention to the profit. Do what, Mark?
It was called Brick Fest back then.
Yeah. I know. You're right. It's too late. I need to be going to bed. Anyway, it was Brick Fest when we were there. The original Brick Fest, not the other Brick Fest. But when we were there, we were riding pretty high. But we could tell the product was riding pretty low, and Lego itself was really fading fast, making too many parts, running the parks, too many colors, no idea about where their money was coming from in profitability. Then they did things to get themselves back in order. They sold the parts, they clamped down on the colors, they clamped down on the molds, and backed all that back up. Well, now here we are, 20 years almost after that, and it seems like there's 10 molds, new parts coming out a month. I'm running out of drawers, and I don't want to buy more drawers, and so all that kind of stuff. Keep up with the parts. Tons of new colors. They bought the parts back. They bought everything back. We talked about this a little last week, but go ahead and start. Do you think they're headed down the same road of destruction, or are they managing these things better than they did back in the day?
So before Matthew jumps in, and let's just cover the fact that they now have accountability, so they are keeping track of the parts they're making, the cost involved. So we know that they're covering that. So the molds we're getting and the pieces we're getting, I think that's taken care of, and they've got that portion locked down. I could be wrong, but that seems to be the case.
Except for brown.
Well, breakability is a completely different scenario. If a part breaks,
blue
or light bluish gray, there's things that break. But
cheese wedges
are horrible. And then today I didn't realize that 1x1 flat tile or round tiles break all the time too, I guess. But I think to be more specific on your topic is where they're going with the certain sets they're making now. I think that's probably more the question of, are they going off the deep end with, we saw, what was it? Angry Birds had a small stint. We saw the Scooby, which unfortunately the Scooby-Doo sets didn't go longer because that was a great line. And of course, the elephant in the room is now what they're doing with Mario Brothers and Nintendo. Is that jumping the shark, or does it make sense?
That's a good topic. Is it? What do y'all think?
Well, here's the thing about the Nintendo stuff. When they failed back in the 2000s, it was a lot of their own themes. It was Galador, and it was Chima, and it was whatever, but it was a lot of their own stuff. The only thing that kept them alive was Star Wars, was the license.
And Bionicle, I'll give Bionicle credit.
Okay. Yeah. Well, because Bionicle had a good TV show behind it as well.
It's all about marketing.
Right, exactly. So what they're doing, and there are some builders who are very, very good at this, and that is identifying a genre of like a property, some sort of IP, and attaching themselves to that in such a way that they can make a profit doing it. So I don't see a problem with the Mario stuff, because Mario Brothers is certainly, Nintendo stuff, there's a huge market, and I think that they're doing fine with it. I think, in my opinion, the big difference between now and back in those days was the number of very impressive, very well designed sets. You look at even stuff like the Fishing Village from a couple years ago, where all these crazy gigantic Technic cars. These are amazing sets. They're doing an incredible job with a lot of their product design. And I think that's what's different now than what it was back in those days.
We are living in the golden age of Lego purchasing.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you gotta have a lot of gold to get it.
But I think too, the other thing that's changed like a huge amount is and you guys remember back in the day, Walmart or up here, Zellers or whatever, they would have these sales 40, 50, 60% off, because at that time, the major retailers, they were buying overhead stock. They would buy all the stock in, and then it would be up to them to sell it, whatever. So then can't remember, not in the early 2000s or whatever, they changed everything to basically it's consignment, more or less, right?
It was right around 2000, because I remember 99 getting tons of stuff on clearance after Christmas, and then 2000 it was not like that.
And they also, because it's on consignment too, the stores can only discount so much, right? They need to basically get approval to discount, which is why you'll see, Walmart, Target, Amazon, or something. When someone goes 20% off, boom, 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 they all are. So I think that's sort of like that sort of overhead control. It kind of it helped them sort of like streamline their expenses. But
I will say though, and I left a bunch on the shelf even on good clearance. The Overwatch sets didn't sell that great. There was a lot coming out of last year into this year. The clearance racks were pretty full of Lego this year, and it made me go, holy cow, this feels like it was when it was crashing and burning. So
that also depends on where you live. And
like everywhere, dude. I went from one end of the state to the other. But
man, I mean, other than Lego Movie 2 sets right after Christmas, that's really the only clearance I got in my area. After that, nothing. I mean, it's all still retail price in my area.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, and we didn't really have it then. You have the eBay, the scalper guys who can use their app or whatever and see when a certain store goes on clearance, and they will come and clean it out. The one here, I went one day and it was at 25% off, and I went back the next day and saw all the tags were 50% off. And literally it was 12 hours, you know what I'm saying, from when I was in the store, and they were cleaned out. And I told the lady, she goes, yeah, about an hour ago, some guy just bought it all. And so they knew. So it's hard for me to really know how much clearance is on the shelf because all that's ending up on eBay or Bricklink reseller and everything. Well, and the parts still get to us because I'm basically want parts anyway, so that's kind of fine. But and I know that a lot of the hidden side we were able to find because Mark, you even found hidden side clearance on the shelf, didn't you?
I found the Lighthouse. The other sets are still full price at my Walmart right now.
We really got that. The Schoolhouse and the Lighthouse was like some weird offshoot freak that happened for that little bit there.
Well, and my Walmart doesn't have the sets over, I think, $80. My Walmart doesn't carry those. That kind of depends on your area.
Yeah.
My Walmart, actually just yesterday, I think. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I bought a handful of 40% off, 50% off Walmart hidden side sets. It was 3 of them. I don't remember. There was the lab, I don't remember what they were. There's 3 of them. They're downstairs. I can't go look at them.
The high school was on sale at some places.
The high school was out.
Yeah.
But the bus was there, but the bus was on sale, but I didn't find any. The monster truck, the lab, and one of the graveyard ones.
So that might be just an FYI to check your Walmarts.
Yeah. Walmarts are notoriously bad at updating their pricing and doing it at a regular time and updating their online inventory.
Stickers will say full price, but if you check the app, you'll realize, oh, this is actually on sale.
Right.
So to come back to the bigger question, the one thing that I would point out is, while there's particular themes that don't sell well, I was a huge Galaxy Squad fan, but I was working at the store and we had to almost give those things away at the end. Not that we did give them away, but I mean, Lego puts out an annual report, and it's news when Lego's profits don't grow. I mean, they still grew, they just didn't grow as fast as they were the year after the Lego movie. So this is a international business that is growing its Asian market. And it's still making more money every year than it did the year before. So I think don't panic. I want to get the British shirt that says, don't panic. Don't panic, Lego fans.
No, I'm not going to panic. If there's a ton of clearance, I'm going to be all for it because I'd rather buy a clearance than anything else, right? So
then there's no more sets afterwards. They're going under.
And I think I got to bring us back to that point of the question. And I think we've talked about this a couple of times recently where, these different themes or a sub theme that'll come out that we're all like, where are they going with this? What are they doing? Or it seems to be a natural theme. And I think kind of what the reference was is that if you reach on a market that seems to have a following, and we're seeing lots of 80s pop culture being made into or 90s pop culture made into sets for Lego ideas. And those are the ones that keep getting done. And we're seeing them. And, it's working, because when the Friends set came out, I mean, I think it was 6-7 months or longer that those sets would hit the floor, and they were gone that day.
Mm-hmm.
Your regular average AFOL who is building sets and doing this and that and the other, they're like, that's just a box of minifigures and parts that I'm going to build into something else. It's not a theme I would normally do. And I know Matthew has, and I'll chime in for Matthew because his audio is always horrible. He bought the Lego, the Friends set when it came out, just specifically to sell the minifigures so that he could get the parts for his inventory, because it became a great parts set for him.
I got the parts for like $25-$30.
Yeah, I mean, those minifigures will go for a good dollar. But I think that the nostalgia is what's getting things, and I think even though I personally, and I'm sorry, Kevin, I'm not a big fan of the Mario sets or the Nintendo display, even though I had a Nintendo and I think it's cool. It doesn't appeal to me, but I guarantee you I will be surprised if that thing doesn't fly off the shelf for video game fans. I see it doing well. I see
you could honestly, you could basically follow your dog around and wait for the sausage to drop out the back, stick a Nintendo thing on it, and you'll have people lining up at the door.
Exactly.
I swear to God. Like,
Exactly.
It's like with Nintendo, it's insane. And that's here. You take it to Japan, like like you have Nintendo like above the church door. Like it's
it's like football in the South.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
So when that Ghostbusters set came out, I was working at Lego Brand Retail, and they shipped 40 to our particular store. And at that point, we had limited storage in the back, so we put half of them in our off-site storage. And by 12 o'clock, we had sold 20 of those Ghostbusters, and those things were not cheap. We had to go get more out of storage at noon because they were literally just like one person after another was buying at Ghostbusters headquarters.
But meanwhile, those things here were like popping open the door, like they were on the shelf for ages. They were using them
And I think definitely it's and Kevin, I'll put some daisies up for my avatar for this week since I'm dead. Yeah, but Gil, to your point, a lot of things are definitely going to be regional, and you're absolutely right. With the Ghostbusters, it was holding up the doors. I know that I've talked to the store manager here in Atlanta, and for certain things that happen here, they can't keep them in stock, and they'll talk to another store in another state, and they've got, they can't get rid of them. So again, it's, AFOLs are fickle or Lego fans are fickle. It all depends on the market and the region.
Well, the question is some of those sets, like the Friends set or the Ghostbusters set, were they dragging in fans like us, or were they bringing in the one-time picker?
Totally the one-time picker. Because here's another example. The Saturn V rocket, which Chris, I know, probably top 10, top set in the last decade for as far
Mobile Lab Saturn V, right there.
Yeah,
all right,
right there. When the Lego store, with they're tried and true Monarch. When you come in the door and you're buying Space Needle, obviously they'll be red and gray flowers for sure. When you go up to the register in a Lego store and you're purchasing something, one of the things that's going to come off the lips of that associate is, do you have a VIP card? Would you like to be a VIP member? It doesn't cost anything. And I don't know the percentage, but so many people who came in to buy the Saturn V are like, oh, no, I don't need a VIP card. I'm never coming back. I just want this set. And surprisingly, they probably should have gone ahead and did it because they came back 2 years later for the lunar lander. But the point being is that no, they were dragging in customers who were specifically looking for that set only, and they may never come back. But I think it's a risk that Lego's definitely willing to take because they may stay, they may come back for something else. Who knows?
So I work as a subcontractor to NASA, And I can tell you, I know at least a half a dozen of my coworkers and the people that work for NASA that specifically bought the Saturn V to put on display in their cube at work, and that's the only Lego set they've ever bought. I can affirm that 100%.
Sure.
Until the lander came out, yeah.
And then the space station.
Right, exactly. I can affirm that exactly. It's like the space collectors want it, but they only want those sets. Yeah.
My question is, when they buy the shuttle, do they mock up the Canadian robot arm that all of Canada is so proud of?
That's right. Because the arm just comes out and flexes. Satellite.
It flexes, it plays the anthem, and holds a beer up while it's up there, right?
That's right.
I grew up near Windsor, Canada. I grew up in Michigan, and every once in a while we watch CBC. And when they covered the shuttle, it was all about the robot arm. I mean, like today, the robot arm.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't tell you how many schools and public toilets have been named after the astronaut, the commander that went up a couple of years back.
It kind of
yeah, it's like I think every kid must have carried his name for like the next 13 months.
That's what it looks like when it flexes.
More brown.
Mark, you should sell those in Canada as like an add-on.
Yeah, all you gotta do is put a little maple leaf on there. It's
maple syrup. Dribble some maple syrup on it.
So, okay. So let me boil this down to a question: is it in Lego seems to be widening to reach more fans? Is it also going deep? Because we're here because Lego went deep with us being kids, or getting into it as being adults. It got really deep. It became the thing we did rather than the thing we just thought about going to get for a novelty and everything. Is Lego going to get to the point where they can't find anything else to be have for a novelty, and then they're going to be scratching their heads and realize those fans aren't sticking because they haven't been pulled deep? What do you think?
I think it's a crapshoot. I think it just depends on which generation of marketing execs are at Lego, and they think they're going to come up with a new idea that they did 10 years ago, but they think they're doing it for the first time.
I got you. Yeah. By the way, good analogy. Yours is a crapshoot. His was a dog sausage. So thank you for balancing those things together. Appreciate that greatly. So
I think the difference in it is how confident they seem in their own product. Like you look back in 1999 when they did Lego Star Wars, and they released, I don't know how many sets that year. What was it, like 10 plus or something?
And Chris bought them all, by the way.
One shot.
I believe it. But so they put a lot of confidence in that because Star Wars was obviously huge with the new movies coming out. And they put a lot of confidence in making a ton of sets right off the bat. But then you got things like the Star Wars ones, the Nintendo ones. Well, the Nintendo's a little bit different, but the Mario ones are kind of just add-ons. But they're doing like one space set, one fancy set a year or whatever. And there's not like a whole ton for those fans if they're trying to get those fans to come into Lego and like buy all the rest of it. Whereas Star Wars, they were putting out 10, 15 sets every single year. And so Star Wars fans had tons to buy. So I think it's a little bit of a different approach for each IP.
Gotcha. By the way, the man who knows the inside, Lego's not entirely interested in is entirely interested in recruitment and has been for 10 years, not retainment of consumer base. But if you don't, in my opinion, if you don't deepen the roots into it, it's just another commodity. It's not that much different than Playmobil or whatever, or Funko Pop, who makes the little things you like in pop culture in whatever medium they have. I remember when, I don't know if you remember when the soccer sets came out. Us old guys remember when the soccer sets came out. Party bonus of those was you got windows to build spaceships with, because those buses you could get the team buses. Remember those? And they were like $1 a piece at Walmart on clearance, and it was just chock full of windows, right? To put and make spaceships or whatever. That was a bonus for us. But the flip side of that was they did the sports stuff to bring the sports kid into Lego that he was not interested in to begin with, and it was an utter failure. And they tried that with a lot of things. And those kids they started to ignore the kids who took it deep and stop making sets for the kids who take it deep, but the kids who just want the thing to put on their shelves.
Let me
stuff out that is for the kids that are doing it deep.
So let me go philosophical here on you and in this aspect. So yourself has already admitted that if there's a failed theme or a theme that doesn't do well and goes on clearance, you're like, hey, perfect. I'm getting cheap bricks to make mocks out of. So is it really a failure or is it not? Or, you know, from a Lego marketing executive or somebody who's saying, hey, we got an idea that we're going to make this set or these series of sets to target at a specific potential audience to bring them in, and they'll maybe buy it once or twice. Maybe they'll only buy this one set and then never buy it again. But your built-in padded market, they don't care. I mean, your kids who, you know, oh, cool, I got a new set. It's just pieces into my thing or whatever. Or, hey, mom, grandma bought me this. It's not really my thing, but it's Lego and I'm going to build with it because I'm a Lego kid. Or if you're an AFOL who's just looking for parts, you don't care if that theme is successful or not. So does it really matter if they make a theme that tanks?
And I think that's kind of right, actually, because if it actually does tank, and this is all tied into something which, like toy manufacturers now, they look at the drastically changed psychology of kids' play patterns and what they want. Because the kids now, today, they're obviously raised in a very different world where they cycle through media, they cycle through games, they cycle through everything like 10 times what we did. So it's like Kevin was saying, it's about recruitment. They can't be worried about retention. If they get retention, great. If they don't, it doesn't matter because they're always looking 2 years ahead to the next person they're going to hook. They're going to bring in, they're going to have maybe in their market for about a year, and then they know that they're going to drop and they need more bodies to cycling behind them. So if you have a failed theme, back in the day, it's a failed theme. It's like, oh, you know, Lego's like, oh, we've bought into this for 16 months. You know, Time Twisters, it seems so great, you know, and it's like, but now they're like, you know, like, yeah, okay, so this didn't fail, okay, next. And I think that's why they have so many irons in the fire now, because it's about recruitment. It's not about recruitment.
It's almost like, and I'm trying to think of the corporate phrase for it, but it's fail quick, fail fast, or fail fast, so that you can move on.
Exactly.
And I think you're exactly right that they're not concerned about, hey, are we going to grow this theme for 6 years, or you know, is it going to be Ninjago that goes for 10 years that was only supposed to go for 3? They're just like, let's make the quick return, and if it's successful, okay, then we'll go ahead and make it, you know, extend the theme to do it more. But if it's only 1 or 2 sets and we get out of it what we get out of it, or we don't, we failed quickly. Let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I want to come back to Chris's question about does it make you go deep? And I guess when I hear you say that, did Lego make you go deep, or did your own creativity with the bricks make you go deep? Right. Yeah. So as a kid, I had 4 Lego Classic Space sets. That's all I ever had.
Yeah.
And I took those things apart and I made my own ships, and then I rebuilt them according to instructions, and I tore them down. And I still love Lego, you know, all these years later, and I got back into it. And it wasn't because Lego made Classic Space for 10 years. It's because I love those 4 sets, and I love the experience of building and recreating and reshaping. So I don't necessarily know that that's something that you put on Lego. They sell a product. You know, here I sound like, you know, an ambassador for the system, but it's the system. The system goes deep. It's up to the user to go deep.
Well, I think they did change some sort of design philosophy in that with the way sets are made and with the way themes are put out, they stay on the shelves for, you know, like Gil was saying, for 6 months to a year at most, then they're gone. And you look back at like the 90s and early 2000s, they were putting out maybe like 30 to 50 sets a year. Now it's like 300 throughout all the themes. It's insane. And so those early sets, like I think of the sets that I had as a kid was like Alpha Team, Adventures, you know, Bionicle, Knights Kingdom, Rock Raiders, and all those have iconic figures in there that you get attached to. And so those themes would sit on shelves for like 1 to 2 years, and you would buy those themes, and you would get attached to those figures, and you would get attached to the scenarios that they're in. Nowadays, You know, they put out Hidden Side, they run it for 1 to 2 years, but then they just move on to the next thing. You never see it again. So I think that is the difference.
And I think there is a difference is the sets we bought, we told what to do. Now the sets the kids buy tell them what to do. And
like here's the app.
And that's what I mean. Here's what I worry. Is it going to be in 40 years, or are there going to be kids of today talking about the product as the product like we are with the passion of it?
Right.
But my question is the bubble going to pop someday? And when I see that, when I go to a Atlanta Brick Company and we look, and there were multiple copies of a very popular Marvel set in the scratch bins because people just, sold it off after a while. And you see, I mean, in our day, you couldn't find used Lego. You had your Lego, right? I mean, there's a ton of product out there, and it gets to be cheaper to go buy used product and all that kind of stuff. Is that bubble one day going to pop? I don't know. It might.
So
and will the fans be in love with it, sticking through, Town Junior and stuff, and waiting for the day for it to get better? And then it did get better. And is it not getting better? I mean, there's quality stuff coming out. I give them that. Is it going to inspire that lifelong creativity that is deep, or is it, this is just the other thing on my shelf? I don't know. What do you?
So I think Hinkle's got a comment down below that kind of tags on this, and it, they're trying to shorten that process because it doesn't meet the needs of the market properly anymore. And I think the anymore is the key word in that whole thing, is that the market isn't the same as it was when we were kids. To the other comment, I think it was Gil who made it, that when we were kids, we had like a drinking fountain of things to sift through, and today it's 10 fire hoses at once.
Yeah,
there's you can't have today's kids will never, they will never have the same kind of nostalgia that we have for some small niche thing, because that's all we had.
Yeah,
they're going to have 50 to 100 things that they may have a small love for, and then maybe somewhere down the road they may lock into one. But it's kind of like saying, I want to recreate the love of Star Wars for my kid. I'm going to make them watch them in the order I watch them in, and some kid at school is going to reveal that who Luke's father is. They're not going to do it. Not going to do it on this thing. So if your kids are here, I'm not going to say it. But somebody will have ruined that for your child, and you can't recreate that nostalgia that we had. For all we know, by the time that we grow old and die out, AFOLs may completely change, and it won't be the way it is today. Who's to say? Who's to say?
Yeah, I mean, my own 8-year-old, I've shared Star Wars with him, and he's over it now. He's just like, he liked it all right, and he knows the characters, and he's over it. He's just like, okay, Dad, whatever.
Yeah.
It's that old movie Dad likes, whatever, Dad.
But he will be rocking Fortnite or Mario.
He currently loves Hidden Side. So, I mean, the app they made for Hidden Side is really good. It's very well done, and it's a fun game, and my son loves it. He plays with the sets. He plays with the app with the sets, and he also will put the app away and still play with the sets. So they got something right with all of that. That's working for the 8-year-old in my house. It's working really well.
And they've been like after that horse for years, and they've missed it every time. And the fact that they've hit it this time, like, kudos to them, because that's amazing, right? Because that's
right in
what
the product name, hidden.
That's what has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing
that also is the description of the box art, because you have no idea what's in the box, right? It's just that.
I know we've been bagging on that, but at some point, maybe that's actually working in some reverse psychology way. I don't know.
They discover, this is more than I thought it was, kind of thing in the box. Yeah,
because it was hidden.
The other thing about
plain sight.
The Giddens question about going deep is, I mean, we all exhibit at shows. Look at all the kids that come out. I mean, there's a whole generation of kids. These kids.
I'm sorry, Kevin. You know I love you because I'm looking for a little clone of you to bring out at parties. So you're still one of my faves.
Actually, hang on, Mike. That all of a sudden that was the next generation old man moment. That the Nintendo guys are get off my lawn, you stupid Fortniter, and all that kind of stuff. So it's happened. Good job, Kevin. You've old man with the Nintendo. Thank you very much. So,
and I think Doc has it that there will be a Mario skin in Fortnite. Just wait.
Oh, that's funny. So anyway, I mean, it's who knows? I hope. I mean, for posterity's sake, for the love of the brick and the creativity of Lego, I hope that Lego is creating lifelong fans like we are lifelong fans. And yeah, there are a lot of kids who are into it. Are they into it for the long haul? And that's just culturally, I guess, all over. You know, are kids into the things that they like, or for the long haul, or it's just the fad of the week or whatever, that kind of thing. And I guess for me, Lego kind of transcended all those fads because I could make whatever I wanted to into whatever genre I wanted to, maybe. So,
do you know what I think is really promising though, is especially for for adult fans of Lego or whatever, is that back when we were teens, and when you started moving away from Lego and your friends started getting interested, in dating and this and that, your
dating,
Lego.
what's that?
Cars.
That thing you see on TV.
Lego Dark Age.
Exactly. When we started getting into that stuff, yeah, you still liked it, but now you kept it quiet, right? And it's only once we all started to find one another again, that you get your nerd on, and then it's all fine. But now these days, I think those sort of barriers and nerd culture and stuff like that, much more accepted, much more this. So my hope is that when you have that 2% that will always love the brick, they'll wear it proud.
Yeah.
All the way through, right? They won't keep it quiet. They'll just be check out the tat, that kind of thing, right? So
I wish I could have started humming the Canadian anthem as you did that speech. That would have been really, really cool, actually.
Oh, Canada.
Actually, no, you go like this for it.
All right. Well, okay. Let me just talk generations for me, because I have a 15-year-old that was in our stream listening for 3 minutes. Then his friend texted him to go play Fortnite, and the Lego instructions on the floor, were floating in the air as he went by, right? So, but he got on the internet one day. He looked up Chubby Bots. He watched a YouTube video, and he created. Let me give you the screen. Since I've been building some Ice Planet stuff, he created a really great mech, right? Using instructions, using some helps and his own creativity to build something that at 15 you forget it. I would have never been able to pull this off.
Never.
And it is a product of good pieces that are coming through all these sets. So hats off to Lego for making not the crappy parts maybe from back in the day, although that stupid flying helicopter, come on, okay? But that they've been putting out. But they're putting out, I would say they're putting out useful pieces. There is a more connected community that is a good thing to keep the fires burning, because it is for my kid, and it's given him, the kind of helps we were getting in our 20s and 30s. My 15-year-old can get on the internet and lap me at building something and everything.
Like I was talking about earlier today.
Hey.
This,
get off the soapbox for a second and say hi to Janie.
Yeah.
Hi, Janie.
Janie Redbrick, what is going on? How you doing?
Janie.
There's
From one
Canadian
gunning to
popping.
another.
Oh man, this place is lousy with Canadians now.
Guns unite.
Oh, it's
It used
terrible.
to be cool to have one Canadian. Now they're just all over the place.
I knew I smelled something malty. So anyway,
That's right.
Adrian, what were you saying?
Yeah, so like what you're saying with your son, my 16-year-old went online and found the instructions for this gigantic behemoth of a GBC module, right?
Yeah,
And
throwing up my kid. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
yeah, well, no, but he found all the pieces in my collection with some help with me, built the whole thing himself. I mean, I never would have been able to do something like this when I was 16. There's no
That
way in
makes
hell.
my head just hurt looking
Look at this
it,
thing.
man.
It's
Holy
crazy. Look at this thing.
cow. That's nuts.
That is crazy.
So yeah, so that's the big plus and the big minus to the interconnected world that we have right now. We've got, a kid can go out and he can find some instructions or something amazing like that, or they can spend 6 hours playing Minecraft, which is what both of my boys are doing right now. So
you raised two different things between Chris and I'm sorry, I forget your name. So I think, and Kevin may or may disagree with this, that if Lego isn't the ones that are trying to cultivate a long-term group, it's us. We're the ones who are creating the long-term fans of the new generation. We're the ones creating that sense of community. I know for a fact that several of my friends from high school, their kids make them bring up my Facebook page or bring up my Instagram page because they want to see what this guy who they went to high school with, who's an adult, who still loves Lego and is building things, and that they're like, oh, he's cool, he's awesome. I'm the fan of like 10-year-olds. I've reached my peak in my life. I can probably stop now. But it's we didn't have that as kids. We didn't have an adult who was saying, hey, let your freak flag fly and be proud of what you're doing and be creative. And Chris, you
freak flag right there, by the way.
It's part of, Lego is a medium.
Yeah.
It's what you do to create and to express yourself. And we're the ones who are cultivating that new environment, not the Lego group. And it's not really, they don't care. We do. So that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, and that was the thing, the philosophy of engaging Lego fans, adult fans in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. We were the evangelist kind of thing, and I think that still goes on. And I think even better if the younger folks are like our resident young man Brian here, but but even the younger you are, the less freak you seem still like the stuff. What was that, Matthew?
Token
young guy, right?
Token young guy.
I hear steps. Either he's going to get him something to drink or he's coming downstairs. I'm not sure which. But anyway, mine upstairs. You know what? I know Jake's going to inherit my bricks one day. I mean, I know that for a fact. And he's going to build with them because he does now. I hope it runs deep in him because it's a way to express yourself, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. But I just don't. I guess my fears is all of a sudden Lego forgets those kids again, those fans again that are super deep.
I don't think they're concerned.
I don't think they are either. When they stopped being concerned, that's what ruined them back in the day. They forgot those fans. They were trying to get fans that weren't fans, and they weren't sticking. And the fans like us who were really enjoying Lego were not finding anything on the shelves that appealed to us whatsoever. So maybe they're striking that balance better.
I gotta say, and I don't know what it was like pre-5 years ago, but from our lug in general and the growth that we've had and bringing in adult fans, we're at a heyday. I mean, we've been growing leaps and bounds to bringing in more fans, and the amount of product that we get from Lego has been fantastic. They may not be putting out sets for us or trying to appease to us, but they're still doing things to keep us happy and keep us bringing in and building new things and still continuing, to do stuff. So even if they're not marketing towards us, they're still taking care of us, and we're still happy to promote them.
We're happy to give them our money.
Yes.
And I will go ahead and admit, I got up this morning. My wife got up at 4. I was up at 4. I didn't have to get to work till 9. I had a meeting for breakfast and a meeting for lunch. But anyway, so I sat down and I said, well, let me look what's on Bricks and Pieces. Oh, the Mickey Mouse set's on Bricks and Pieces. And I've already placed an order through Troubles Brewing here to say, hey, if you're going to order and get me some, which he is, $25 worth. So what do I do this morning? Right before I play vacation, I'm like, well, we might eat in one night. So I plunked down and I bought me some more Bricks and Pieces. I got to break it to my family. Everybody's ordering water this week when we go out to eat on vacation. So Actually, we're just getting it to go. We don't have to order a drink. But yeah, I mean, that's the good thing, I guess. Access is still there for the fans who want to go deep, I guess. Yep. By the way, for my Canadian friend, can you do bricks and pieces, or is that something, or do you even know what that is?
Say what?
Okay, next week is a bricks and pieces episode. There it is.
No, we can do it here, but again, we can do it here, but the pricing's in USD, so yeah. So, something that normally costs you 25 cents here, I've got to sort of figure which organ I want to donate to get it.
and all the pieces are in metric.
That's right.
That's true.
Right.
I mean, they are already.
Right. 2.38 studs.
That's right. I mean, and what Janie said is correct. Lego's a company, they don't want to lose money. And as we said before, they're a little more aware of what money they spend and what they're losing. And obviously, when they had just a little downturn of making less profit than they did the year before, not still making profit, that they asked people across the board, even our own beloved Mr. Hinkle here, lost his job because they massaged their demand instead of charging for it. That's a whole nother story. So anyway, as a corporations don't do things very well a lot of times and everything. So we do have a golden era. I hope it lasts. I hope the bubble doesn't bust, and then all of a sudden, you can't get the bricks anymore and everything. So, but anyway, we're a little past an hour. Actually, we're an hour and a half. Good gracious, that's awesome. Any other comments from the peanut gallery here?
I want to bring something up.
Sure.
One of the other big things that is happening now that wasn't happening back in those days is Lego is hiring AFOLs as designers.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like we've got a man on the inside now thinking about like how sets should be designed. Like for example, you have the filler bricks inside of the Iron Man helmet, and they're all interesting, weird colors. Because they could all be black, they could all be red, but they're not. They're pink and purple, and I don't know what the fuck they are. What the heck they are?
I'm amazed you lasted this long, my friend. I really am.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, it was too much of this. I kind of my sensor turns off after a while. But anyway, so there's
remember at 1 hour and 26 minutes we kick out Adrian out.
Hey,
okay, got it.
We get one F-bomb in a PG movie. I just used it. Anyway, so there's there's AFOLs, there were designers now, and because of that, there are design choices being made on the inside that helps us to get better sets, and I think that's only helping out the product.
Yeah.
Instead of hiring a toy designer to make Lego sets, you're hiring a kid who's grown up building Lego to make the sets.
Like Mark Stafford and Shamson-Freud, I forget his real name.
And the new Nintendo set is obviously influenced by Chris McVeigh, who's a Canadian who went to work for Lego and who built all kinds of miniature versions of old computers and TV screens. And as soon as I saw that TV screen, I'm like, yeah, that's Chris McVeigh. You can see his imprint on that.
Oops, sorry. I'm hitting all the part buttons there. Sorry. Yeah. That of all the things that Lego had maybe can do wrong or do sideways or repeat mistakes, the big win for us is having those fans that they pull in who are making good bricks, and that I guess Jamie Berard didn't make the street corner stuff immediately. He had to work his way up. But then, those things are amazing and influential, and everybody likes them. Especially they like to run their Millennium Falcons through versions of them. And everything. But yeah, so I mean that's a good flip side. At least the sets that may not appeal to us are still good sets. I mean, we didn't get to really talk about the Nintendo set that much. Love it or leave it. Man, there's some really awesome techniques in that thing and detail, just flat out.
Yeah.
They didn't have the cord though. They don't have the yellow and red cord going from the Nintendo to the TV. So that's a big fail. So
LED cables.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest fail is that it should have been an Atari 2600, man. That's where video games should have stopped.
No. I want a Sega Master System.
And you don't maybe in television, maybe, but that's it.
I was a Commodore 64 fan, so.
Okay, Mule. Okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, for sure.
I did bring it up, and to maybe hopefully gain a little bit of grace back with Kevin real quick before we finish. While I'm not a fan of the set itself, when I go out and buy it, I still gotta appreciate it. And I'm sure, like Chris said, there's gotta be some cool techniques in there that, if I get the chance to build it, or I'd love to build it just to see what it's like, because that whole scrolling piece that's going to happen with the, as it revolves around, that's got to be some cool techniques in there that I'd like to incorporate into one of my builds.
Oh yeah. So well, and like I would find somebody who wants the Nintendo and doesn't want the TV. I'm like, I'll split it with you. I want the TV. I really don't want because the TV's great, right?
That's what you want? Oh my gosh.
Oh, just the back, man. Although I wish they would have made the RF adapter with the slaughter switch from channel 3 to channel 4. On it.
Those are mock challenges that are going to happen on their own.
Listen, Chris, we can go halfsies because I don't want the TV. I just want the console.
We're there, man. We're gonna make a show. We're gonna have the whole thing. I'm serious.
I have a lot of feelings about it.
Maybe we can talk about oil. Wait, what?
Do what? What'd you say, Gil?
So we're gonna fill up a pool full of oil. We're gonna get in the set. Oh man, it's gonna be hot.
Right.
Throw it at 7-11.
Anyway. All right. It's been good to have everybody here and even Gil. But anyway, so we're because let's just go ahead and admit, what are we going to tell people about this whole conversation? Dog sausage, right?
Dog sausage and crapshoot.
And my accidental F-bomb.
Doc Sampson, if you are listening, you need to rewind about halfway through to the description of dog sausage. That will be the highlight clip you need for your show, Doc Sampson. So
Nintendo dog sausage.
Oh, me. All right. Thank you for bringing the quality up there, Gil. But I really appreciate it. No, I'm extremely thrilled. It's been a long time. I love talking to my friends about Lego, and it's been a long time since I've even seen live the faces of a couple of these jokers on here. And so, and a good mix of opinion and stuff. I'm just glad you guys are here. Thank y'all for coming. Next week, there's a possibility that the show will be on Julian's channel, on a Brick Smith's channel. You guys will get the same invite and everything because I'm going to be on vacation. But I might, if I find out my internet's good, I'll just do it from there and let y'all see the lovely beach behind me or stuff as we chat. But we'll be back at our normal time at 7. Because I noticed that we actually had some competing shows that tonight. There was a lot of live streams, so we'll go back to 7 next week. But you'll get your invitation as normal for the folks in the chat. If you'd like to join us in our chat, send me an email, and we'll see if we can get you on the show as well. Glad to have for the first time Adrian and Greg Gilshaw. Thank y'all very much. Creative Moron and Creative Funk. In fact, that would be a great band name for y'all. Y'all need to get together and a Creative Moron and Creative Funk.
Be like the Wonder Twins and have our powers activate.
Wait, which one turns the water and which one? Oh yeah, put your fist up. There you go. Very good. All
Form right. A bucket of 1x2s.
Oh,
1x2s.
Thanks, guys, for coming along.
Shape of Timmy.
We hope, by the way, I don't know if you noticed on the internet, Tyler was supposed to be our guest last week. They had their kiddo. His name is Timothy, and they put pictures of him, obviously, on his baby blanket with Legos scattered about, and which is really cool. So congratulations to Tyler and Amy on baby Timothy. That was super, super awesome. And so if there's a kid with some Lego DNA in that, I realized calculating that kid's age, when he turns my son's age, I will be 65. And I'm completely depressed. So on that thought, thank you guys for joining us tonight. And I hope you guys have a great night. Hang around if you're in the chat after the broadcast goes live. We'll hang out for a minute. But for those of you watching at home, thank you for joining us, and hope you'll join us next week for Old Gray Bricks Live on Thursday night. See you later.
Thanks, folks.